Hello and welcome again to part 2 of our conversation with Dr. Baseball, Wayne McDonald, the Clinical Associate Professor of Sports Management at NYU. We had a great conversation for part 1, delved into a lot of issues that Major League Baseball is trying to address, and our co-host, Steve Cody, Mr. Retman himself, is going to kick it off with some tough questions for you today, Wayne.
Yeah, number one is there's been a lot of controversy about how long the game is and the fact that it's losing fans because of now with the replays and this pause, that pause, etc. I've heard various suggestions that the game be reduced from 9 innings to 7 innings. That has huge implications in terms of baseball being a statistically driven game, lifetime home runs, yada, yada, yada. What's your thought?
Well, clearly it's a problem, without a shadow of a doubt, because we're losing a whole generation of fans that don't want to make the time commitment. There is an interest, but they don't want to commit over 3 hours. And for instance, the Yankee game the other evening was a 6-hour affair, and when the broadcasters on the network are apologizing to the audience, saying, "We apologize for ruining your Saturday evening plans because this was a 4 o'clock game," it's a problem. And I think what's happening is Commissioner Manfred realizes it's a serious problem. I expect to see significant changes occur next year with time stop clocks and speed up rules, but what we're seeing is reluctance to conform to it, but we have to, because the audience is not going to sit and make that financial commitment and that time commitment to watching baseball.
Do you see something as fundamental as cutting the game to 7 innings happening?
For me, that being a purist, I think that would be sacrilegious, and it would have an adverse effect on the statistics, and you would have to basically put a line of demarcation saying pre-2007, 2018, post-2018.
But you had the 154 game schedule versus the 162
Absolutely.
games.
And we saw what happened in 1961 with
Roger Maris.
Roger Maris. And that really didn't get cleared up until Fay Vincent came into the office into the late 80s, early 1990s. There has to be a solution here, because the game cannot go on this way, and Commissioner Manfred realizes it, because you're going to start to lose market share and you're going to start to lose overall interest. They have the 36 to 60 demographic and even older. We want that coveted 18 to 30-year-old demographic in the worst possible way.
But there's this conundrum, right? Because obviously there is this desire to attract a younger audience, but you don't want to alienate the fans that you already do have. If you cut it down to 7 innings, I can see a lot of purists, maybe yourself, maybe myself, who would say, you know what, this doesn't really interest me as much anymore. Even small changes such as limiting or not allowing a relief pitcher to throw warm-up pitches, it has been received with a lot of criticism. How can you even address an issue when nobody's willing to take a step back?
So I'll say this. I think Major League Baseball has certain fans. They have us. We're locked in. We're deeply and emotionally committed to the game. And the way we consume is vastly different than the new generation, who is going to be spending an extraordinary amount of disposable income on the sport. So they have us. They need to do a better job with this younger demographic, and also promoting the players. They have these great personalities and these extraordinary talents. They have to do a better job with diversity in terms of promoting diverse talent within the game, as well as these unique talents and personalities that come through, because young fans aren't going to turn in and tune out for these games. They're not.
Absolutely. Now, what about the young stars that have started to arise? And we're talking a lot about New York centric, because there's been a lot of talk about Aaron Judge and young stars like that.
Not from me.
Not from you? Okay. Haters gonna hate, right, Steve? Haters gonna hate.
Hate's a harsh word.
Yeah, I'm
Strongly
sure.
disliked.
Yeah.
Or haters are gonna judge, in this case, Aaron Judge. But he's been absolutely phenomenal. The second half of the season, he's slowed down. But young stars like that, will that make a difference in attracting some of these younger fans?
Oh, I think so. I think, particularly with a young man like Aaron Judge, I think he's kind of cut from the Derek Jeter cloth. Says the right things, conducts himself in a professional manner. Anything that you read, to get your hands on, it's almost like he's Jack Armstrong. He's cut from that mold, and that's what baseball needs. But baseball also needs the Mike Trouts of the world, the Bryce Harpers of the world, the Manny Machados of the world, all these.
Bobby Bonilla was a great role model.
Oh, absolutely.
Him and Brett Saberhagen. That was a great Mets team. But I think baseball has to do a better job of celebrating the diversity in the sport and really putting it out to the masses. Because if you look at the all-star talent, like Miguel Sano, what he did during the home run derby, no one knows about him because he plays with the Twins.
Right.
Why are we need to be doing a better job celebrating the talent like the NBA does with their individual ball players?
Different subject. So the Mets, pitching roster basically blown to hell, with the exception of DeGrom, and it seems like the game has changed. Each team wants 5 or 6 innings of 99 per hour fastballs, and then they bring in the middle relievers and the closers. So you see, Seaver used to rack up like 18, 19, 20 complete games every season. Now if somebody has 1 or 2 complete games, it's considered like phenomenal. Why is it happening, and is it to the detriment of baseball?
I think there's an answer in between there, because it is a current detriment, because pitchers are being mentally conditioned to only go 5 innings, but also throw triple digits. So it's a weird conundrum. Do you want the length or do you want the speed? And if you listen to people like a Jim Cott, who's a very highly respected voice and author of 283 career victories at the major league level, the Greg Maxes of the world are gone.
Yeah.
And the pitchers who couldn't break 90 miles per hour but knew how to work the zone. To baseball fans, that's a thing of beauty.
Yes.
But to the casual fan, they want to see Noah Syndergaard throw a baseball through a brick wall.
Yeah.
And look what happened with Noah Syndergaard. Look what happened to all these other extraordinary pitchers in the game. They're out for months on end, and then they have an ulnar collateral ligament surgery, and it's changing the dynamic. I'd rather have craft and guile and keeping the pitcher healthy and watching that than just seeing a guy throw triple digits, knowing that he's a ticking time bomb.
Well, are the Mets' woes going to have a causal effect on the rest of Major League Baseball, or the other team's going to continue down the road of 5 innings at triple digits?
Well, let's look at the recent Yankee trade. Okay, that was basically done to extend the game to the bullpen. So to me, as an observer and someone who studies the game, it's telling me that the Yankees don't have faith in their starting rotation, or they can only get 5 innings out of their starters, so they have a deep bullpen. Bullpenning is a huge thing within the game today, because everyone realizes starters aren't going to go the distance. With the exceptions of the Max Scherzer of the world and the Clayton Kershaw,
yes.
who are just freaks of nature in the most complimentary of ways, your average starting pitcher is going below 6 innings, when at one point in time the average in the game was over 7 innings.
Yeah.
To me, it's a seismic shift in the game. I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather see the Tom Glavyns and the Greg Maxes of the world rather than seeing a great talent like Noah Syndergaard on the DL rather than pitching the Mets to victory, because he is someone I want to watch pitch when healthy.
You bet.
Yeah. Now, speaking of pitching the Mets to victory, you're probably going to pick them to win the World Series.
He is.
Yes.
He is liking them to the 1914 Boston Braves, who were in
wouldn't
last
liken them to the
place.
Boston
Who were in
Braves?
last place, like in the middle of July, August.
Pulled it together.
Pulled it together, won the series.
Or the '78 Yankees with the Red Sox,
With the Red
in
Sox.
August.
That's true.
Could be. Anything could happen. And Wayne, you've had a history of giving some pretty great predictions here on
And some
I
bad
would-
ones. And some bad ones.
Say he's batting around 600 or so.
I'll take that.
All right, still sounds pretty good to me. But we want to see what your thoughts are. I mean, we've seen some disparate things, and to me, good for the sport.
Sure.
Cities like Milwaukee, all of a sudden at the top, and you have big markets like LA
And Houston.
and Houston, big markets like LA at the top. Where do you see this heading towards the end of the season? Who's going to be out on top?
For the National League, it's a 2-horse race in my opinion between the Dodgers and the Nationals. Don't count the Cubs because now they're starting to get hot.
Yeah.
I just think if Clayton Kershaw can get over the jinx of 1, pitching against the Cardinals in the postseason, which he can't do, and 2, getting that monkey off his back, they're really playing extremely well. The Nationals are well built. Harper's finally back to the MVP form. Max Scherzer's pitching out of his
phenomenal
mind.
team.
In the American League, it's a little more wide open. Don't sleep on the Indians. Red Sox are really putting it together. Astros are the belle of the ball right now for a variety of reasons, because they were predicted a couple of years ago by Sports Illustrated World Series champions 2017. Bill James did that 3 years ago. They're an exciting team to watch, but with Correa out now for a couple of months, dynamic changes. So I'm saying in the National League, it wouldn't surprise me to see the Nationals or the Dodgers put it together. but it's going to be predicated on Scherzer and Kershaw really taking it to the next level. And I think the American League is really wide open, and it would not surprise me to see an Indians or Astros really sneak back into it.
Anybody who's like below 500 who could just turn it around.
You're still trying to get the Mets in
They
this
may
team.
wear
Come on.
blue and orange as their team colors.
Well, here's the thing. Remember, don't ever sleep on the second wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another great thing that baseball has done to elicit more interest, and stranger things have happened.
Fair enough. Final question, Paul?
Final question, MVPs of the season.
Nice.
Wow, that's a great question.
Is Judge going to take it?
Well, here's the thing. He was the first half MVP without a shadow of a doubt. To ask him to perform at the level that he did at the first half is unfair to this young man. I think if you had to ask me to make a selection, it would be him for now. National League.
Lucas Duda.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he could be playing for the Yankees soon, for all we know. It wouldn't surprise me to see a Bryce Harper, or a Goldschmidt,
Yeah.
or a Nolan Arenado that everyone sleeps on in Colorado. So you probably have about 4 or 5 really talented players in the National League.
And Cy Youngs and Rookies of the Year.
Judge, American League, Rookie of the Year. National League, I'm going to say Bellinger.
Bellinger.
But the Dodgers, I think those two are kind of locked.
Size?
Size, in the National League, is going to come down to Scherzer and Kershaw. American League, I still think it's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
A guy like Kluber always interests me in terms of what he can do, but I think it's far more wide open. Like a guy like Sale. I think Sale is going to be an interesting selection being in Boston. He might have the inside track.
Absolutely.
Let's get him back.
Predictions, yeah.
At playoff time.
We're gonna see if he's been right on these. Yeah.
Exactly. I guarantee he'll have 6 out of the 8 wrong. No, I'm teasing.
All the faith, all the great faith.
No, we got your back. We got your back.
Wayne, thank you so much for joining us again, and hope to see you again towards the end of the baseball season. Thank you all for joining us. Join us again for the next episode of Rep TV.
Always
Awesome.
fun.
I think that was great.